Welcome into the Boston Sports Summit. I am your host, Tim Barnett, and we are here with a special Super Bowl edition for the Boston Sports Summit, joined by guest Pete Collins from the Foxborough Fellas podcast. We got some other guests who's going to be showing up later during the show, but Pete, how you doing, man? Are you excited?
Yeah, like we were just saying pre-show, and thank you for having me on, by the way. But like we were saying pre-show, like anxious, nervous, but not as nervous and as anxious as we'll be as we're watching the game. It's going to be a very stressful event, but hopefully leading to a very joyful moment at the end.
Exactly. I know. I got invited to a couple of Super Bowl parties, and I said, you know what? I would love to. But the last time I was at a Super Bowl party where I was surrounded by friends and not my bosses, I was a social pariah in the first half because we were down 21-3 and then 28-3. So, like, I became the life of the party at the end of the game. It was that first half. I'm like, kill me. So, I think I'm gonna lay low for the game.
Well, also, I sent the TikTok to Divish because Divish is every single year has Divish, my co-host for those listeners, has the Super Bowl party every single year. It's like his tradition. And for a while, the Chiefs were winning every single year. And at one point last year, I told him, hey, if they win again, you're going to have to stop having the Super Bowl party. You're just not allowed to have it anymore. But even more so, I sent him this TikTok, right? And it was like the take was of this TikTok was Super Bowl parties are for non-serious people. And like he obviously had a good defense for us because everyone just talks over the game, right? Like no one takes it seriously. You can't focus. So Divish's tactic is second TV. Put those people over there, second TV. You get your non-ball knowers and your ball knowers. But I'm super excited for this one. I'm watching it with my brother and my dad, and then my girlfriend and my mom will be doing whatever they want to be doing in the other room. I think they want to do some arts and crafts, but just not interested in the game, non-football play. But us three will be able to be locked in. So I'll have my notes section out, my eyes on the screen, and I can't wait, man. I can't. This is so exciting.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, it's so funny because I've been going into this season. I saw all the additions, and don't get me wrong, I was right there at the ready to rip the Patriots for not signing Milton Williams. Remember when that deal was finalized with Carolina, and then the very last second he joined us? I was ready to tear them a new one. And when I saw the layout and the schedule in June, I've talked about it on my show multiple times. I have the video ready to go, but I said that this was a 12-win team. I said that this was we have such an easy schedule that we should beat all these teams. And technically I had 13 wins. I'm not trying to brag because I did have us beating Buffalo at home initially. And then I'm like, nah, we're not going to sweep Buffalo, at least not this year. I'll see what happens. But I mean, going into the season, Pete, what were you expecting? Did you expect, 10 wins, or did you see a playoff? What was your thought?
No, I did not see them making the playoffs. I did not see them getting to 10 wins. I had them at 9 wins. I took the over. Got paid for having the confidence in the Patriots. But yeah, I did not suspect Drake May would be in the MVP running. I did not suspect we would even be in the playoffs, never mind the Super Bowl. I think I went on a rant, telling everyone to calm down because Drake May is not your MVP and we're not going to the Super Bowl this year. I said, wrong and wrong, couldn't have been more wrong, right? Yeah. But I'll tell you this, you and the other people who said 12 wins at the time, were called Homer honks, right? And I'll stick with that, though. I think you guys were Homer honks at the take. I don't know if there was such a glaring I don't know if, or maybe you just saw how bad the schedule was before everyone else saw how bad the schedule was.
Yeah, and that was kind of
that's not a credit to the Patriots,
No, yeah, exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. I liked our additions. I liked Milton Williams. I'm pretty sure we had Stephon Diggs by the time I made that video. But like I said, I was just looking at it going, okay, listen. We got Buffalo, we got Burrow, we got Lamar. I gave us losses for those 4 right off the bat. I was like, okay. And then as I'm going through, I'm like, Geno Smith, I had no hope for it with the Raiders, even though I know they beat us. Aaron Rodgers, same thing with the Steelers. I had us, I think going 5-0 or 4-0 before we lost to Buffalo at home. Actually, here I can show you exactly my schedule right now. And yeah, so I had us going 4-0, then losing to Buffalo, going 8-1, losing to Tampa, beating the Jets, losing to Cincinnati, losing to Buffalo, losing to Baltimore. Like, I had us going 12-5, and that was in June. And yes, I fully accept the homer honk, but like I said, I liked our additions. I wasn't thinking that Drake May would be a 72% completion percentage passer, a guy who threw for over 4,000 yards, a guy who, like you said, MVP running. I just looked at our schedule and I compared the rosters on paper, and I'm like, I could kind of see us being better than them. And that's how I did it. So again, I wrote way too early prediction, but like I'll float that one around. If we win this Super Bowl, that's gonna be like my highlight. I'll put all together the whole thing.
You just pulled up your schedule. I just emailed you mine so you can take a look at it or pull it up. I don't know how quick you are with the fingers here, but I had them at 9 wins. I had them starting off the season 2-2. I had them starting off pretty bad. So I had them, I had them starting tough, and they certainly did start tough. I did not think they would go on the run that they went on. Some of the latter half of the season, I thought they would go on a 2-game losing streak against the Falcons and the Bucks. Wrong about that. And then I thought, like you thought, Allen and Lamar are going to be a handful, and that Burrow would be a handful. Turns out we didn't play Burrow. It turns out that things turned out a lot differently than they did. But yeah, no, I had them at 9 wins myself. I'll raise the hand and say wrong, because it's those preseason takes that you're like, you really hope you're wrong about. You're like, I hope I'm wrong that they don't make the playoffs. I hope that, there it is. 2-2 to start the season. Thought we would lose at Buffalo at the end. Thought we'd get swept by Buffalo, frankly. Because like you, I thought we would beat easy teams and lose to hard teams. I just didn't think our team was as good. And I think that's what a lot of the preseason takes that I had, were about our team and how good our team was. Your take is more about the schedule, which I think is a much more fair take. It's like, it's not really, I'm not confident in my team. I'm confident in how bad the other teams are, right? A lot of people were talking about how confident and our team lived up. Our team overachieved and the other team sucked. To be frank, that's how that worked out. But so let me ask you this: do you think that the Patriots are like untested and had an easy schedule, and so when the people throw schedule in the face, are you one of those people that throws it in your own team's face since it was so easy, predictably so easy?
Yeah, well, it's so funny because again, listening to Boston Sports Talk Radio, that was like the nonstop conversation for basically the whole year, and I agreed. I said, listen, this is an easy schedule, but in no way was I sitting there saying this team is not tested, this team is not good. We got some good breaks, I'll tell you that much, with Tampa coming out of the bye, with Lamar Jackson getting hurt, Joe Burrow not being available, Jamar Chase being a freaking moron and being the second guy in one season to spit in someone's face.
Backup quarterbacks to end the year.
Yeah, backup quarterbacks. Like, listen, I have no problem admitting we had an easy schedule.
Because it was. Because if you were to say otherwise, you'd be just a freaking liar.
Exactly. Like, if I got some comments and stuff saying, it's not that easy. I'm like, well, yeah, it is.
No, it's the easiest. It's by DVOA measures. Since they started measuring it, it's the third easiest. And you have to go back to like the 90s to pull up the last time something was this easy. This is the cupcakeiest schedule ever, the easiest schedule ever. Anybody who isn't saying that is like why other people are getting upset about the schedule. Like, take the power away from those people by saying it is very easy, but our team's still very good.
Like, hello, McFly, like, come on. The thing that bothered me, I think, when it came to schedule was getting to this point and saying you had a cupcake schedule in the regular season and you had a cupcake schedule in the postseason. Now, from a offensive perspective from our opponents, yeah, you had Herbert, who sucks in the big game, CJ Stroud couldn't buy a completion if he wanted to. And then we had Jarrett Stidham. Now, when you look at it from our offensive perspective, I would say we are battle tested. We know what's up. We scraped by in a couple of them. Drake May came alive in the second half of those games, and with LA and Houston having a passer rating of over 130 in both of them. So, like I said, I think from offensively for us, we're battle tested. We're good to go for this game. Defensively, the thing that kind of has me excited is how we went against, by PFF standards, the best offensive line in the AFC Championship in football. We went against the best offensive line in football in the AFC Championship game in Denver and made them look pedestrian. I mean, the Kyrus Tonga blowing up RJ Harvey for that 3-yard loss when we ended up blocking that field goal attempt. Huge. Christian Barmore just getting after Jarrett Stidham. Milton Williams getting after Jarrett Stidham. This was supposed to be the best offensive line, and they looked like trash. And I don't want to hear the elements, this, that, and the other. We still made them look like trash at the very beginning. Maybe not initially, obviously, but with that deep bomb. But still, I'm. The more I talk about this game coming up versus Seattle, the more I'm convincing myself, which I know I probably shouldn't do, that we stand a very real chance of winning this game on Sunday. Am I wrong to think like that?
I don't think you're lying to yourself. I mean, Vegas has it at 4.5. I think that it's a pick'em game. It's more, if I was a bookie, I'd be putting 2.5 on it. But that's because in Vegas, it's a business, right? Money's coming in from the rest of the country on Seattle, so it's probably a 1.5 just because everyone hates the Patriots and no one's betting on it, right? So it's closer to a pick'em game, I would say. But I have a question for you. In your take just there, did you say that the offense has been playoff battle tested, but the defense remains untested in the playoffs? Because I would say the exact opposite, which there could be an interesting conversation there.
So I would say that. Don't get me wrong. I think Lad McConkey had a down year this year. Keenan Allen's a shell of himself for the Chargers. Then Dalton Schultz, who is really the only pass catcher for Houston that was effective against us, he gets hurt. They had no Nico Collins. They didn't have Trent Brown, which, again, I'm not saying that Trent Brown would have made a massive difference on that offensive line. He ate 2018 Trent Brown. Do you see how big that man is now? He's huge.
He was there.
Yeah. But then against Denver, outside of that, outside of our interior defensively, I feel like we had to go up against a backup quarterback. And don't get me wrong, Jarrett Stidham was good at the very beginning. He made smart plays at the beginning, and then we finally got after him. Once that fumble happened, the game changed on a dime, at least with Stidham's head and, going after it. But, they did have their full complement of receivers with Sutton. Actually, no, they didn't even have Troy Franklin in that game. So I'm not saying that he would have, again, made a massive difference. But from our offensive perspective, there's no better defense in the game of football than Houston. That they were all over the board, at least in my opinion. And don't get me wrong, Seattle's a very good defense. I'm not trying to downplay them or the Chargers or even Denver. But Houston, by far, is the best defense I've seen this season.
Yeah, Seattle's once you watch Seattle, they'll be the best defense that you'll have seen all season. But I agree with you. Up until this point, Texans have been the best one. I would just say that if you're holding playoff teams to a little over 8 points a game, that your defense is nasty.
I agree.
3 points in a playoff game is nasty. I would say making an offensive line that ranks last look like an offensive line that makes last is exactly what you're supposed to do. Making an offensive line that's ranked first look like they're mediocre is also very, like you said with Denver. Making CJ Stroud, who a lot of teams would take on over their quarterback right now. Made him look like a high schooler. I don't think that's CJ Stroud. I think that's the defense. Our blitz rate has been cranked up like 15% since we've been in the playoffs, and our blitz has worked all year. They just haven't turned the dial up, right? Like the efficiency remains the same. The frequency has increased tenfold. So I would say that the offense has looked far worse in the playoffs than it has in the regular season. No, it is worse too. I don't need. I'll take looks out. Is worse in the playoffs than they are in the regular season by any metric you can throw out there. Their efficiency has decreased, right? It has not gotten better. Drake May has played very bad, to be frank, in the playoffs. Some of it's on his offensive line. You have to put some of those fumbles on just getting harassed from the left side. But that wasn't a problem in the regular season. And he got harassed by Myles Garrett. And he's also, for what it's worth, Will Campbell's getting harassed by some of these really, really Hall of Fame caliber edge rushers. So, but it doesn't go away in this one. This game is really hard too. But I think that there's the whole cover 6 thing's been thrown out there. Like Kendrick may not go play against cover 6. What do we do in this game if Seattle's just going to play cover 6 all the time? I would just say the deep ball was something Drake May really relied on in the regular season. We all know that. I mean, yards per attempt, he averaged 8.9 yards per attempt. That's 36th all time. Out of ever. I think that's crazy, right? But then you go to the playoffs and he completed just 34.6 of his downfield passes. He's 0 for 7 in downfield passes with tight windows. His downfield passing has taken a hit, and the counter might just be, hey, you're in the playoffs. You're playing really good teams here, and the weather's been really bad. And I would say, if I'm going to accept that argument, then I have to water down my defensive argument, saying, well, the other team's offense also had to play in that weather too, and so it goes both ways, buddy. So you know what I mean? So I would say if I'm more confident in a unit, it's the defense by miles.
Oh, listen, and I agree with you. That to me is one of the keys, obviously, to this game coming up, which we'll get to in a few minutes.
I didn't mean to jump ahead. Yeah.
No, you're fine. But what I meant is, again, I agree. I have a hell of a lot more faith in our defense than I do in our offense. Maybe I phrased it the wrong way, because what I meant by battle tested was that it's not like Drake May had easy defenses going into this game on Sunday and now is going to face a Houston-esque defense.
It didn't go easy, hard. And so all of a sudden he's getting punched in the face. He's been getting punched in the face for 3 weeks. And so this is just another punching in the face. I'm used to this by now. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I get that. Yep.
That's kind of the way I'm framing it. Whereas, and listen, the way our defense has been playing, lights out, stellar. When I do my game day grades, I gave the entire defense an A, and then I broke down and gave our interior an A. It was just, they were stellar. And that's what I've done basically, all playoffs, because the way they've gone about it has been huge. It's been massive. And so you brought up the whole cover 6 thing, and it was funny. I forget where I saw this, but I saw when talking about cover 6, Seattle is one of those teams that does it consistently, that they run cover 6 a lot more than most.
Third highest rate.
Thank you. And with it being the third highest, to me, that just says it's on film. How they disguise it, how they transition over to it is on film. Whereas some of the other teams that we've played don't do it that often. So it's not on film. So when Drake May gets under center, or he gets right behind, gets behind the center, whether it's shotgun or underneath, he's trying to figure out from the alignment, okay, how are they going to do this? Are they they got 2 high now? Is one going to drop down and it's going to be a cover 3, a cover 1? Or is it single high right now and then 2 are going to spread out and it's going to be 2 high? Which, if Seattle has done that enough, and you and I both have a lot of faith in Josh McDaniels. I think that's, fair to say. And again, I'm not saying that Drake May is going to, be like, all right, guess what? I'm throwing for 380 because I know what you're going to do. No. I think he has the ability now to see what Seattle is going to do, understand the pre-snap reads of the defense, and say, you're going to go into a cover 6 right here, which means you got this guy, this side's going to be cover 2, this side's going to be cover 4. Great, I'm going to hit my tight end right there. You know what I'm saying? That, to me, is kind of, I think, an edge factor for New England. Am I, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, give Josh McDaniels 2 weeks to prepare, and you have to feel pretty confident, although I will say McDonald on the other side, give him 2 weeks.
And he's
I
going
might
to.
be just as confident.
Yep.
Their disguise is very good. They show you one thing and they do another thing. To your point, are they showing too high, and then do they come off of that, or do they stay in too high? Because that's how they show more often than not, is that split safety look. But what are they going to break into from there? Unknown. So it's really pre-snap read and then post-snap read are going to be very important. Immediately after snapping the ball, seeing where the safety goes, right?
Yep.
You wonder if they're not going to run as much play action because, if you have your back turned and you turn around, you can't have seen the safeties and what they have done. So do they go away from that a little bit? Something that they leaned on and been successful. Do they try to go heavy like we've seen and take a safety down into the box and be like, okay, well, now it's a little bit easier to diagnose with a heavy personnel? Like, what is the wrinkle that McDaniels comes up with to combat that? One of the things I'm thinking is maybe get to the line of scrimmage a little bit quicker, because as you know, at the 15-second mark, your headset goes out. McDaniels can help diagnose that defense if you get to the line of scrimmage prior to the 15-second mark, and you have McDaniels in your ear going, this is cover 6. See that safety, whatever the tell is, because you and I don't know the tell, right? Because if we did, we wouldn't be in San Francisco right now, to be frank, right?
Yep.
But I'm very confident if you have that. And another thing would be to run hurry up, right? Don't allow them to get into complex defenses, unless they're just brilliantly prepared, which they might be. But then secondly, if you're getting to the line of scrimmage in a hurry up, you have McDaniels that whole time, again, with the headset, wait a ton of time. And then you can get the line of scrimmage quick and then calm it down and diagnose with a headset. I think the headset in McDaniels is a crucial point, not only these 2 weeks leading up, but the 15 seconds before it goes out, and the last 15 seconds before it goes out, and then after the snap, Drake May taking over and really diagnosing that in real time, are going to be key, because you can't exactly you're not going to have the home. Drake May said it before, Josh McDaniels gives me the answers to the test. You're not going to have the answers to these tests. You're actually going to have to take this test and pass.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because with Josh McDaniels and Mike Macdonald having 2 weeks to prepare, I think is great for both sides. Where, and hell, even Mike Vrabel, being a part of this, Zach Kerr, we get Terrell Williams back. That's phenomenal news. Praise God that, what Terrell Williams is cancer free now. So I think that's a huge lift for this team, but something that I wonder, and again, like, we've seen plenty of first-time teams that get to the Super Bowl, the day becomes different. The game is different. You can see just by the way they play, they're not fully there. They're still treating this game like it's a typical playoff game or a regular season game. How much of a factor, because I think this is a very underrated factor, but how much of a factor do you think that Mike Vrabel being here 4 times as a player, McDaniels about to coach in his 10th, I forgot that he was on the 2011 squad, even though he wasn't the OC, he was an assistant, but even still, his 10th Super Bowl appearance. How much of a factor is that, and are they going to have these guys prepared at least for what comes of that day.
I
You know what I mean?
haven't seen them come out unprepared ever.
Well, no, no,
Maybe
no. I don't
like
mean
week
like
one.
unprepared, but I mean like just the factor of the day itself. With the long halftime show, it's a long day. All the commercial breaks, this, that, and the other. I mean, does that kind of make
No,
sense?
yeah, there's 2 weeks, there's a different halftime, all that stuff. Yeah, it all factors in. How many points does it factor to? Is kind of like what I boil it down to, like a
Yeah.
1 or 2 point. I don't know. Like if your team's completely ill prepared, yeah, that could lead to a mistake that leads to a field goal. I tend
I'm
to
not
think
putting a lot of
yeah, I was
emphasis
gonna say,
on
like,
it,
if
but
we're gonna weight this pretty light because the matchups matter more, the execution matters more, the coach's preparation matters more. But I would say, like, how to handle Bill Belichick's talked about it before. Teams have talked about it before that knowing how to handle the tickets, how to handle the flights, how to handle the hotels, how to handle the media, how to handle just the amount of attention that you're going to get. And now we're in the social media day and age, and everyone has a cell phone and they're all attached to it. So it's like, yeah, all that stuff certainly matters. But then when the lights come on and you snap the helmet on and you run out the tunnel, I think a lot of that goes away very quickly. So as long as you're prepared and you had the proper coaching, I think you're going to, and everyone's healthy, I think all those things matter a whole lot more. But yeah, it's a slice of the pie. I would just, give it a very small slice of the pie. And
absolutely.
Milton Williams. Oh, Davish, what's up?
Divish,
What's up, guys?
what's going on?
Nothing much. Been a hell of a day, but like my car's auxiliary battery died. So I was just going at the shop getting that replaced. I ended up being a little late for the show, but thank you for having me on.
Dude, absolutely. I'm glad we could do this and talk some shop. I mean, we got a big game on Sunday. Pete and I were just talking. What's your thought about Mike Vrabel having been here 4 times, McDaniels having coached now in his 10th Super Bowl? Does that have any factor on this game, just from the preparation standpoint, do you think?
I mean, from experience matters, right? Experience has got to matter. Whether that's like McDaniels' experience designing these singular offensive game plans versus Vrabel's experience just more so being there as a player and then like understanding what a locker room needs at that time. So I think both those things combined definitely matter. I think they are edges. I don't think they're clear like advantages. Those are things that like once you equate everything, those edges won't matter unless you install a solid game plan, unless you have a good day of practice, unless your players go out and execute. Those things matter like if it's a tie game with 4 minutes to go in the third quarter and it's 20-20 and you need 2 good offensive possessions and you need to galvanize your defense on the sideline. That's when that matters.
Definitely. Okay. Yeah. And I agree with that. Like Pete and I were just discussing, like, I think there is something to be said about that preparation in terms of like the day and the understanding and the locker room, halftime, all that fun stuff. But you're right. Like, that's not going to win you the game. At the end of the day, like Vrabel has said all year, it's the players on the field that win football games. And I think that's exactly what it's going to come down to. So so when I look at this game, I can't let go of Sam Darnold seeing ghosts. I can't. I still see
Let it
Sam
go,
Darnold.
buddy.
Yeah.
Time to let it go, pal.
Look at what he did last year. He had a big Sunday night football game for the number 1 seed in the NFC last year with Minnesota, and he crapped the bed. Then in the first round of the playoffs, they lost. So I like the big moments. Listen, he did fine, but it was what it was, I guess. Like, if we can get to him, I have no doubt in my mind that he will start seeing ghosts again.
Yeah, I mean, he wilts under pressure. Yeah, like most quarterbacks that face pressure. And I would just say, if like we're gonna use last year against him, please don't use last year Drake May against me this year. Like, oh God, different situation. He's not even on the same freaking team, right? But you're right. If we dial up the blitz and harass him like like the defense has been harassing a quarterback. I think that we could get. I don't think Sam Darnold is like a killer. You know what I mean? But I think he's very good, and he's not like the seeing ghost guy that we saw before.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up too. That Sam Darnold in that game dropped back 53 times. In those 53 times, not just total pressures. Rams recorded 23 quick pressures, so pressures under 2.5 seconds. This is like, again, PFF's charting.
Yeah.
No quarterback has ever scored 16 points or more with 20 plus quick pressures. He had 23. So it's just, he was kind of that was just an impossible game, right? Like it's hard to judge a quarterback when no quarterback would have succeeded in that game. So outside of that, I think the one thing that's different this year, first off, the Seahawks interior offensive line, especially Gray Zabel, they have been way better than what Darnold's ever had in his career.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing there is too that the skill set that requires to run this Kubiak offense is like, that's just Darnold. That is truly like, you just need a guy who will only roll out when he's told to, and otherwise will just try to step up in the pocket. You know, like a lot of those things, like the pocket discipline and stuff, that's so vital here. And Darnold's been crushing it, dude. Darnold's stepping up in the pocket. Like he has, like, I think at the seeing ghost time, what the difference was that
he played for the Jets. So
he played for the Jets. That's a big thing. The other thing was also that, like, he had his arm confidence was also at the point of arm arrogance, that he thought that like he could make any throw. And he interpreted that as no defense can defend my throws. Whereas now it's very much so like, and I think this would like being with guys like Kyle Shanahan and Kevin O'Connell does to you versus being with Adam Gase and Matt Rule, that he trusts his arm and he still believes he can make any throw, but he also understands defenses better. He also understands like the game situations better. So I think that this is why, like, I think this, because we did not play the Vikings last year, this is not a version of Sam Darnold that the Patriots have ever seen. So it's going to be, as for us as Patriots fans, we are essentially playing a quarterback for the first time. That's how I'm looking at this game as.
I think that's a good way of looking at it too. I think it's also good to remind Patriots fans, like, yes, Sam Darnold is much better. He's much improved, but he's also the player that led the NFL in turnovers this year.
Yep.
He also, Seahawks as a team lost the second most expected points off of turnovers. So if you can force a turnover in this game, if you can force them in third and long, their efficiency drops. If you can take away the run and force them to lose their play action, their efficiency drops. Like, there is efficiency metrics that can drop when you do certain things, but the Seahawks team has shown you that it's very hard to take those things away from them, that they don't like those things to be taken away from them, and they protect them at all costs. And so I think this is a very tough matchup for this defense, but I think, like, as much as we praise Sam Darnold, we also there's some holes in his game.
Absolutely.
The other thing there with, just to add last thing, Darnold thing. I think that why the seeing ghost game was an anomaly, because after a point, Darnold was just giving us the ball.
Yeah.
Right. It literally felt like that everything we did, we were like 4 steps ahead of him. I think this is going to be one of those games where Darnold will take 2 steps forward and we will match those 2 steps. Mm-hmm. And it will go back and forth that way. So there's an opportunity to force turnovers. We would have to be way more creative about it. So like an example could be like, we have Barmore and Williams that are the pillars of our defensive line. How many one-on-one matchups can you draw for one of those guys on Anthony Bradford, their right guard? That will be something like, you have to be creative. If they're constantly sending double teams towards the center and right guard, can you stunt around it? Can you run twists around it? Can you run simulated pressures through the middle of it? So I think we would have to be a lot more creative to force those mistakes out of. But like Pete said, if we are creative, there's an opportunity there to definitely like capitalize on those mistakes.
Absolutely. And, versus, let me say, I'm lucky to be joined by the Foxborough fellas themselves, Pete Collins and Divish. Thank you guys once again for joining. It's funny, Divish, you said, the pressure, quick pressures, right? How like one of the things that I keep talking myself into, that I'm trying to say, don't do it, but I am, is the fact that Christian Barmore and Milton Williams were what, 1, 2, 2, 3 in terms of the quickest pressures in the playoffs. So I can see them getting home. And you're right. I would be stunned if Seattle isn't prepared to protect Anthony Bradford there because of how weak he is. And just even him, when he pulls to the other side, it's like a lumbering oaf. Like he gets there so slowly that I mean, they're going to have to figure out a way to protect that center there. And otherwise they're screwed, in my opinion. Because ultimately, to me, I feel like this game is going to come down to our offense going against their defense. What do you think about that?
That our offense going against their defense is
Like,
going
that's
to be
going to
more
ultimately
critical than our
decide.
defense going against their offense. I might weight them evenly, to be honest with you. I think that the two units, or the two defensive units, are the strengths of both teams, and that the offense for us has left a little bit to be desired, because they were the unit that carried us throughout the regular season. So it's almost like, where'd you go? Are you going to come back? And so I guess it wouldn't surprise me if our offense was the main unit, but our defense, I feel like, has been the main unit to get us
I'm
here.
talking
to get
about
us
in
this
terms
way.
of like deciding the game. Like, what is, and don't get me wrong, I think that Seattle's offense, Dan Orlovsky said earlier today, we can be beaten deep. It's just no quarterback's been able to hit that. So the way I look at it is, of course, at the end of the day, it's going to be 50-50. I just see that, can our offense finally live up to its potential in the playoffs like it has in the regular season? I think if we can live up to our potential, I think that's going to have a massive effect on this game in terms of us winning it.
Yeah, and I definitely think we can. I don't think like this, like the whole thing that like Seattle is like one of the better tackling teams when it comes to like the total tackles, like tackle success rate. They run zone better than anyone else. They can get pressure with 4 while disguising coverages. They run a lot more disguise than the Patriots have seen most of the season, outside of like the Chargers. So all that is true, but I do think that the couple things. Running against the Seattle's base defense, which they run, which is like essentially just big nickel, and Emanwari is like the pseudo third linebacker / safety. I think we can run the ball against that look. That look is a little susceptible to gap scheme runs, and we run gap at least like over the last since the bye week. Ramondre Stevenson has run gap scheme better than any running back in football. Truly believe that. So I think there's a potential to run the ball early and just get some yards, like pick up first downs, like stay ahead of the chains. I think that would be a huge thing, because I do think that a lot of these games that we have seen our offense struggle, it has been like really predicated by slow starts. And I think that is one thing that could be different this game, that it's not necessarily like going to be a fast start, but I do think it will be a manageable start where they don't really fall behind as an offense. Like they're never having to readjust their entire playbook. They might be changing individual drive scripts based on what they talk about on the sideline and what they're seeing from the Seattle defense, but they might not be behind in the game plan. And I think that would be huge. And I agree with you that as long as they do that, as long as they're just game plan sound for 4 quarters on offense, that should be the edge for us to win the game.
I think the game plan is the key, right? Like, what is the game plan, and does it end up working? Because Josh McDaniels has tendencies, and then Josh McDaniels has, like, for example, 11 personnel, right? They are one of the best in the entire NFL at running it, but they run it very, like, 9th lowest. Only, below half the time they run 11 personnel. So it's like, is that the wrinkle? Is the wrinkle in this game that they go from 9th lowest to they're just going to explode and run 11 personnel a ton, and because they know how good they are at it, but they just haven't tipped their hand all season? Like, is that the wrinkle? Is the wrinkle hurry up? Like we were talking about before, to have Josh McDaniels in the headset, while you still have Drake May at the line of scrimmage. Like, what is like the wrinkle that goes in there? Because I would expect a wrinkle in this game, kind of like we saw the design run in the red zone when we really needed to score, right? Like him turn the wrinkle up, right? Do we see a lot of design runs from Drake May in this one? Because that is a weakness of Seattle's defense, the quarterback run. And we have a great running quarterback. So is that the wrinkle? I expect a wrinkle to stay ahead. And then who's one of the best adjusters, on off? And Josh McDaniels again. So the ability to have a wrinkle and to come in with an expert game plan that allows you to get out ahead early or to match early. And then the ability to adjust later in the game as you see what's going on, or maybe a weakness that you're seeing in the defense, or maybe something that they've been able to take advantage on your end and adjust out of that. I think those would probably be like my key on offense, at least, for the New England Patriots in this one.
And I think the adjustment out of that is pretty favorable here too, because we know our quarterback can run. We know Seattle struggles with that. If Seattle struggles to spot, or Seattle tries to spy that, to like put the clamps down there, we have running backs who can catch the ball out of the backfield and move laterally. Mm-hmm. So there's a way that like if you spy, essentially, like you were saying that if you spy and don't blitz, you were essentially saying that we are asking your running back to beat our linebacker one-on-one, right? And I think our running backs are up for that challenge. So I think that would be pretty interesting too, that our running backs, especially Ramondre Stevenson, has been very underrated as a pass catcher this year. And him as a pass catcher with Drake May's legs, I think sets us up for like, those money downs, like Pete was saying, like those clutch situations where you need to dial it up.
Absolutely. And if they were to have a spy, like who's that going to be? Are they going to dare take Eamon Wara out of coverage, basically?
They put him in the box a ton, though. That's not even taking
I know that, but he's excelled at coverage.
Oh yeah,
coverage. So I mean, listen, it would be first of all, it would just be interesting to see who they're gonna use to spy. The one thing I did just see Mike Reese tweet out that Drake May is a full participant, guys. All right, he wasn't limited; he's full participant today. So no more shoulder talk. All right.
That's if you were engaging in the shoulder talk to begin with.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you could have had no shoulder talk this whole time if you want.
Yeah, but
the one thing I will say, it did that out route to Booty that he shorted. That was the only throw that made me not believe it, but just kind of be like, okay.
You had to counter it with the flea flicker, which happened immediately after the supposed injury, right? So it's like
exactly. So that's where the I thought he had a strong. I know he has a strong enough arm to hit that out route to Booty.
Yeah,
but again, that's
there's no question of his arm strength.
Yeah, that's the only shoulder talk I think we're gonna have on the show today.
Yeah, that's enough shoulder. That was like Will Campbell's arm length talk. Like, should have been over before it began.
Yeah, right.
Coming back to the spy topic, if I had to pick who would spy Drake May for the Seahawks, I think it's Drake on Drake violence. I think Drake Thomas will probably be the spy on Drake May. Just because I think like Ernest Jones is a better linebacker in coverage for them if they have to drop a guy in coverage. But they could use this guys on spies too. Like they might come out showing one thing and then they might readjust it in the second half. Like Eamon Wara could be that spy for them.
Yeah.
So if I had to guess, it'll be Drake Thomas. But again, I will also not will not want to be the person who's trying to get a Mike McDonald defense 3 days before the biggest game of his career. So
exactly. Well, going from offense to defense now, what are we thinking about JSN? Are we going to go with a classic Bill Belichick, take our second, third best corner, and have safety double him? Are we going to have one-on-one with Gonzo? Kind of what are your thoughts when it comes to that?
That
What
is the
would you
biggest
do?
question, right? That nobody
Yeah.
knows the answer. We'll start there. If we're looking at trends, we know Gonzo doesn't follow a wide receiver one. 25% of his snaps come against what he stays on the side. Carlton
Yep.
Davis takes a side. He takes a side. That's very well established at this point, much different from last year in the Mayo Belichick. This is just a different style of defense. So, what I would expect that to stay the same. I don't think they're going to switch up for any reason, unless this is the one game where that's the defensive wrinkle, but that's not even that much of a wrinkle. And so, a lot of it is the disguise coverage is what because I posted, right? I was like, why is this happening? You have an elite quarterback or cornerback one. Why is he not following a guy around all year? And a lot of people's comments, the consistent comment at least is to disguise coverage. If he stays on the side, you don't know if he's manned up on that guy or playing zone. I would say, I think it's quite possible to play zone. You can follow the wide receiver over there and just play freaking zone, right? Like you don't need to then play man. It's not mandatory that you play man if you follow a guy around on a field, right? So like you could still do it. It's not impossible, but I understand the remark. I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen in this one. All I know is that they seem to be consistent in their approach, that Gonzo's not going to follow Jackson Smith and Njigba. And I wouldn't be surprised if you had a Carlton Davis and some safety help over the top, like the old Belichick style, right? Throw my best corner on the wide receiver 2 and then throw 2 guys on the wide receiver 1. Boom, that's how I'm going to handle that, right? Good luck to you. Yeah. And I would say that would be my take too. Good luck to you. You're not going to stop him. Just try to limit him.
Yeah.
Maybe take Walker away would be a better defense. Take someone else away and just try to limit Njigba. Don't let him absolutely murder you would be the goal.
No, I think the key to stopping Jackson Smith and Njigba is pressuring Sam Darnold. I think that is a way easier path. The way their route concepts are designed, so I was looking at this, like there's chances that Jackson Smith and Njigba 27% of the time of his snaps doesn't even line up out wide. He's either in the slot or in the backfield.
The backfield's crazy, Devish, because it just takes away the press. I think that's a brilliant strategy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is
what we did with Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah.
Whoa,
I mean, the most recent memory was with this, the backfield shenanigans, obviously, with Sean McVay. But they used to run like Ben Skoranek as this like fullback who they would line up in the backfield, but he was essentially a wide receiver. And Kubiak was like a big proponent of, like, he is from the Shanahan tree, like good friends with McVay and Kyle Shanahan and Kevin O'Connell, who lines up Justin Jefferson in the backfield sometimes. So they have like these ways to do that. But I think a lot of the times that he is lining up out wide, I do think we need to be more comfortable playing man coverage than we have in the past, right? Because that does, obviously, even if you're playing man coverage, you either run a bracket on Jackson Smith and Njigba or put a safety over the top, right? Either or, depending on the look, how you want to run that. But you do have the opportunity there that most of your other corners in Marcus Jones and Christian Gonzalez and your other safety should be able to handle one-on-one coverage there. So I think that is something that needs to be a challenge in this game for this team, that, hey, we might have to dial up man coverage a little bit more than we have these playoffs so far. Defensive line, go out there, still get the pressure that you have, but they've continued to like increase man coverage, like beginning, I think coming out of the bye, right, Pete? That's when they like increased that.
They did, but they've been very successful at it this postseason too. Yeah. So it's like, it makes total sense for them to dial the man coverage up.
And I think
that's corners. Like, let's be honest, Gonzalez is better man than he is zone.
And I mean, as his own corner, he has 62 snaps, 0 touchdowns. So like, he's it's kind of like Drake May. When people say like Drake May kills man coverage, I'm like, yeah, but it kills zone too. It's like, well, Gonzo's a really good man. He's a really good cornerback, guys.
Yeah, like, come on.
But this playoffs, in man coverage, the New England Patriots quarterbacks are completing 43.5% of passes for 153 yards. And we all understand the weather, because then you could point out, well, Drake May doesn't have great passing numbers either. You're like, okay, fair enough. Only 2 touchdowns against man, 3 interceptions, 9 first downs allowed. Patriots 2.7 yards per play in man coverage. 2.7, that's pretty good. You can't get a first down if you average 2.7, right? Unless you're going for it on fourth. 4 sacks, a strip sack, a fumble off man coverage. More turnovers forced than completions allowed in man coverage. More turnovers allowed, 3, than completions allowed, 2 in man pressure snaps. So if you can get man pressure snaps on these guys, I think you're whether they're good at it or not, we're good at it. Because, right, I think that's a lot of the argument. Seattle's very good at this. It's like, well, what are we good at, guys? Like sometimes what we're good at is going to win too, right? Man pressure, I think, is the way to go. Apply pressure, get after Darnold, play man coverage. Maybe you provide some help because Njigba is that guy, right? But that's what I would do. But if I could come up with that in the amount of time that I've spent thinking about it, I'm sure that they've all thought about it and have counters and balances, right? So that's just what us.
I don't know, Pete. I mean, I feel like we're three smart guys. We could come up with something.
We're wicked freaking smart, dude.
All right. So before we get on to, like, I do want to talk about the Hall of Fame a little bit. Before I say that, what are your thoughts about Tom Brady trying to distance himself and be Mr. Political by saying he has no dog in the fight after we just built him a freaking statue? I mean, because not
for Fox,
it pisses me off. I get it.
Yeah, no, it fires me up too.
Yeah,
but the owner of the Raiders that works for Fox didn't pick the Pats.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Well, no, it's not that he didn't pick us. It's he has no dog in the fight.
He Rob load it.
Yeah,
he's gonna wear the NFL logo hat.
Like, dude, you're Tom Brady, man. TB12, like everything you had, gold here, and now you're just pissing all over your, the mark you left. Like, come on,
that's strong. Tom Brady's pissing all over the mark he left in New England because he's refusing to pick someone in a Patriots Super Bowl. I would say that we have just stretched this slightly.
It's that he has no dog in the fight. He can say, I played for New England. I'm a New England guy, but I think this is going to be a close game and leave it at that.
Unless his boss told him he couldn't. Like, very well could have been that way.
I also think like this is one thing, like maybe I'm in the minority here. I was not super upset by that because the thing is right now he owns a different team and he has a different job. While that is again the same thing that while he was playing with for the Buccaneers, like I did not expect him to have anything for like any affinity for us either, because I just look at like playing for a football team is a job. When he left the Patriots, he got a different job, right?
Yeah.
When he was working for the team for 20 years, that was his job. What did he give us while he was working? He won 6 Super Bowls and went to 3 more.
The best employee that's ever worked for the company.
Yeah. So I think that is one thing too, that it's the same thing that I did. Like, it's the same thing that when Josh McDaniels left the Patriots and went to the Raiders, we played the Raiders there too. I did not expect him to have any type of affinity or any type of
But I feel like that's different. I feel like that's different because listen, at the end, like, and I get it. It doesn't bother me to like my core because I know Brady's Mr. Politics now.
You can tell it doesn't bother you.
Yeah. Well, again, at the end of the day, don't get me wrong, it fires me up.
This is riling you up, man.
It is riling me up because, dude, you gave us everything, and we gave you everything back in return. Yeah. Like friggin' Julian Edelman, Rob Gronkowski, Teddy Bruschi, Vince Wilfork on.
Yeah, but those dudes are sitting on the couch with Lipson talking about the game. You know what I mean? Like they're just like this guy works for Fox and owns the Oakland Raiders. I mean, it matters a lot.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing.
Non-bias, it's very important.
But it's just to say, like, I've played. I owe my career to New England. I owe my start to New England. This, that, and the other. Fine. If you don't want to pick, don't pick. But don't say I don't have a dog in the fight.
It's a pretty bad reason to pick a team. Maybe he thinks Seattle's going to win and he's sparing us.
Yeah, possibly. But the other thing there is also like when Michael Jordan bought the Hornets, he didn't say a word about the Bulls, good or bad. But I think that is part of being an owner, right? Because when you were an owner and you were in these owners meetings and you were allowed to vote on things that applies to the entire league, you have to come off unbiased, because you cannot come out and say that like, oh, I own the Raiders and I have a voting interest in the Raiders, which gives me a voting interest in the league. But hey, I'm just going to root for the team that I played for 20 years and I haven't been back to their stadium in or haven't played in that stadium in almost 7 years now, or 6 years now.
Because
I think that
back.
is
Well,
yeah, he's been back.
Which
That's
I
what I was
think
gonna
is
say.
part
'cause
of like the
back.
legacy, right? Like,
Yeah.
he's like, he still loves us. He comes back, he gets the statue. He has Tom
Exactly.
Brady Day. When he spoke to us, he loved us. I don't think.
Yeah, I think this is more so that like he had that job for 20 years. He plans on owning the Raiders and hopefully passing it off to his kids like for the next 50, 70, 100 years. He wants that in that family, or like his family to have the reap the wealth off of that. I think he's trying to value that a little higher than emotions of
Oh,
people in Boston.
I know, but it's emotional. It's football, damn it. All right, listen. Final score predictions. What do you got? I'm gonna start off with mine. I got Pats winning 24-17. I think it's gonna be close. I think we're gonna score. Seattle's gonna have the ball last, and we're gonna hold them.
Go ahead, Divish.
I have gone back and forth between my score, and I do think it's a low scoring one. That is one thing that I'm feeling pretty comfortable with. I'm gonna go 23-20. Patriots win. I was initially thinking 24-21, but I also took this bet for more than 3.5 field goals. It was like plus 200. So I was like, okay, I also need to root for that bet. So 23-20 is more of a favorable score to get the more field goals. So I think, but I do think this is going to be one of those games where I think Mike McDonald's going to be very comfortable in the red zone and defending us in the red zone and taking opportunities of 6 away and leaving us with 3. And I think we will force Seattle in some positions to, just take the points. Don't make the mistake that Denver made, because we are going to keep the game close and those points are going to end up mattering at the end. And I also think the 3 points that we win by is also going to be a game-winning field goal. Not saying it's going to be on the final drive, but I think the final score of the game will be a Patriots field goal too.
Okay.
Ooh, Borregales with the game winner.
Coming through the clutch.
I like that. I'll run it back 28-24. Pats repeat the same exact score that they did last time. And a lot of points get scored in this one. As much as we're thinking defense, that's how the Super Bowl works. Exactly what you think is going to happen doesn't happen. So the opposite thing happens. That's just what I'm rolling with.
Remember the highest?
Don't lock me in, Division. I might switch it all up on Friday.
The highest scoring Super Bowl of the 2020s was also the highest DVOA match, a defensive DVOA matchup of the regular season.
So there's that to back up my take.
Yeah, it was I think the 7th best defense in the Eagles and like the 4th best defense in the Chiefs, and that was that was the final score of that game was 38-35. So yeah, we might all be sitting here and it might be a game-winning touchdown for one of those teams, and both teams end up scoring over 30.
Defensive points count too,
Defensive
pick sixes counts too. That counts towards the total.
No,
I mean, there's a prop bet I'm pretty sure on FanDuel to take that same score repeat, and it's like in the thousands, as it should be, right? Exact scores are hard, and then repeat an exact score of a previous matchup would be quite insane.
Well, the one thing I feel like everybody wants to forget is how poorly mismanaged that clock was 11 years ago, because they had 2nd and goal, clock running, they snapped it with 27 seconds left. They had to throw the ball on 2nd or 3rd down. They had no option to run it for 3 straight downs, if you really think about it, because with that one timeout left, they needed an incomplete pass to stop the clock. So I don't know. That's like one of the things. Like, listen, don't get me wrong. Not running Marshawn 11 years ago, not a smart move, clearly. But Pete Carroll absolutely mismanaged the clock. The fact that they had to call a timeout after the curse catch still boggles my mind.
Pete Carroll's taking strays this week. Pete Carroll has to watch this, like what you just talked about, that interception. Then he has to watch Seattle. I mean, he add on the Patriots too if you really want to tack on some wounds to Pete Carroll. Yeah, Belichick baited him into a throw that he had his team practice all week long, and it worked out for the team that baited the other team in. I mean, There it is. I think there's a mastery of coaching on display there. And the fact that there's like clips of practice of Malcolm Butler getting smoked, running underneath the corner and then taking the coaching tip to go around, but also then for Browner to have to press on that play and for him to execute it on Malcolm Butler's behalf. Like it was just those are like that little X in his nose that matter 1,000 times. And that's how players win the game. But coaches put the players in the proper positions to execute and win the games. And that's why I find unique confidence in the Patriots in this one, because I feel like we have a lot of great coaches that put our players in uniquely good positions. And then our players come through at a like uniquely high rate when put in those uniquely high positions. So I feel oddly confident in those aspects. But at the top of the show, very nervous still, nonetheless. This is the Super Bowl and you don't want to lose.
And it's easy to say now that like they obviously should have run the ball. Like hindsight's always going to be 2020. But
with the
other thing is, the clock was definitely an issue. But them throwing the football there, this is like one thing I was thinking about earlier in the week when I've been seeing this clip everywhere. Do you guys remember any other interception that you have seen where the defense was lined up in a 7-man front? I cannot remember any off the top of my head. The only one that comes to mind is that one. So that's
how many times, like, are you lining up in a 7-man front against the pass play? I guess could also be the
but it's also like
passing against that front.
Yeah, but the other thing is also like which is like more interesting. There is they matched the 7-man front when Seattle was in shotgun. That was pretty interesting to me, and I was like, that is generally
that's debate, right?
That is debate. And I think
there's debate. It's like, you guys think you got this. Look at they're dumb. They're in a 7-man front. We got this. Can't wait to throw it. And they were like, yeah, we can't wait to pick
exactly.
I saw sorry.
Oh, go. The last thing I was gonna say with that one is like a lot of the times teams just go under center in a situation like that. You try to fake them out with they're trying to fake them out with a quarterback sneak and go into a play action pass. You know, like the Patriots run that play with like the kind of corner out to Hunter Henry. I think we scored a touchdown with that later on in the season. I think it was the Jets game. But we made Chisholm run that route. But yeah, similar thing.
Yeah.
I think that Seattle had stuff that they could have done even while passing versus running. So I think it was just overall the better team winning the most important play of the game.
Absolutely. And I will say, I did see your show on Monday. And by the way, if you haven't seen Foxborough Fellas, check it out. Excellent show. Great. You guys do a great job breaking down the film and everything. And I saw your interview with the Seattle guy. And it was funny because he was talking about how Russell Wilson called that play in order to give himself the MVP.
Yeah.
I heard it. I've heard that rumor, but Pete Carroll was the one who called that play to give Russell Wilson the MVP. So I just thought that was pretty funny. David, you said you got to drop off with where can everyone find you at?
Oh yeah. So for my latest updates, follow me on X at @suchdaviddivic. And then like you mentioned, me and Pete host the Foxborough Fellas podcast 2 times a week during the season. On at least once a week, sometimes but we will stay with you the entire offseason. We cover the draft, we cover the offseason. Last year we covered the training camp from there. Both me and Pete went. But we bring you year-round Patriots coverage. So check us out at Fox Fellas Pod on Twitter. And then on YouTube, you can find us on Boston Sports Zone at @sportszone_BOS, BOS for Boston. Everywhere else, all audio platforms, it's Foxborough Fellas Podcast. So check us out. Thank you so much for having me on, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's hey, we all we got, we all we need, right?
We all we got, we all we need. Go Pats.
Go Pats, baby.
See you, David. See you Friday.
See you Friday, man.
So, Pete, now to get into a little more lighthearted topic, what was your thought about Belichick and now Kraft not getting into the Hall? I went on a 30-minute rant ripping into the Hall of Fame for all of this. What were your takes on that?
2 takes. I got 2 takes on this. They're more Belichick heavy takes because it's like Kraft's been begging to get in the Hall of Fame. I don't care if he doesn't or not. Whatever, dude. You can wait. It's not as disrespectful that he doesn't get in. It's really disrespectful that Belichick doesn't get in. And I think it was also disrespectful that people voted Kraft. They're like, I didn't vote for Belichick because I voted for Kraft. Shut up. You should have voted for Belichick and not Kraft. You're wrong still. And here's everyone knows Belichick should be in, so I'm not going to spend time telling you why you should be in. Just Google, and it's like takes 2 seconds to figure out why you should be in. Any moron.
Right here.
Yeah,
right here.
Yeah, there it is. 4 dummies why Bill Belichick should be in the Hall of Fame because he's really effing good. That's why, and he's won the most. It's just obvious why he should be in. But here we go. Him not getting in helps him. How does not getting into the Hall of Fame help you? You might ask. Well, he's been in a PR blender for how long now? His girlfriend that's very young and the age discrepancy. A lot of people are creeped out by that. I'm creeped out by that. Like, I think his girlfriend's younger than his sons. It's really weird. It's just weird behavior. And then he's had weird social media behavior, like taking the picture on the beach with like his girlfriend on his feet. Like, that's super weird. I don't know if he knows like if he's getting pictures taken of him or not, or like what's happened, him getting caught on hot mics. Like, this guy was the most stealthiest operator ever, and now he's getting caught on hot mics. Like, his PR
It all started with that one ring camera,
the morning in the Cape where he's going out the front. Just his PR slide has been crazy. And then that's all non-football. Football related, he's not a successful football coach right now, and he's been blackballed from the NFL. We had 10 open coaching positions this year, and nobody called Bill. Bill made a statement that said, I'm not interested in the Giants job. And the Giants were like, dude, we're not interested in you. Why did you call him? Well, keep our name out of your mouth. Like, it's just been an embarrassing slide for him. And honestly, it's proven that Tom Brady carried the team more than Belichick carried. It's like proven it's sussed that out for a lot of people, right? And I would just say,
tell me though, like,
I can. It's obvious at this point that Tom Brady is so much better.
I don't disagree that Tom Brady was massive. Again, at the end of the day, the players are the ones who win the game. I get that. I'm not discounting that. But like you said with Malcolm Butler, the coaches put the players in the position to win the game.
Yeah, and then the players did it. So it's more the players. And it's very clear that the player can do it without that coach. That coach is replaceable, and he can go do it with any other coach. That coach can't do it without him. And he's, in fact, a huge loser without him.
Neither could Chuck Noll, neither could Tom Landry.
Yep, them too, right? So you could put them in the same boat that wasn't as much them as you might have thought. Yep, sure, same take. But
they were first ballot Hall of Famers.
Yeah, it's stupid. We already agreed it's stupid he's not a first ballot. It's asinine. He's the greatest coach of all time. Nobody even sniffs his jockstrap. Like, that's well established. We're moving past the obvious Patriots thoughts of obviously you should be in. Everyone knows how good he is. And that Brady at 60-40, it's not 50-50, right? Like, it's not 80-20, it's 60-40. It's just more Tom. It's just at this point we figured this out. And so my whole take is his PR is terrible. So why is him not getting into the Hall of Fame good? Well, what are we all doing now on these podcasts? We're all saying, look how good he is. He is the man. He's the best ever. We're now saying maybe it's not really Tom. Maybe it is Bill. Like, we're talking about it all again. And everything we're saying about Bill Belichick is praise. Even people who hate us are going, well, that's really stupid that he's not in the Hall of Fame. Nobody can figure it out. And then the people who didn't put him in the Hall of Fame work for the Colts. They work for the Chiefs. So you're like, okay, it's like a Yankee player not voting for a Red Sox player. Like, it makes sense. You guys are frauds, right? So you guys are frauds is basically what it comes down to. And so my take is that this is great for him and that this does nothing to his legacy. I mean, Mike Vrabel said it. He'll get in. Like, it's almost like he didn't care in the world, and it's exactly how I care. I'm like, yeah, he'll get in eventually. And then when people will tell me he's not a first ballot, I'll be like, do you believe that though? Like when your heart in your mind, do you think that's right? And so it's kind of like the MLB Hall of Fame now. It's like, Hall of Fame's a joke. Who cares? When someone says I'm a Hall of Famer, I'm like, that doesn't matter to me. Like, I know how good you are. Are you in Pete's Hall of Fame? Are you in Tim's Hall of Fame? Like, in your eyes, how good are they? And Bill Belichick in everybody's eyes is great. So it's like stupid that he's not in the Hall. It's like a stupid concept that in almost everyone's minds, a really good person that's like excellent, top tier, doesn't get into the shrine, the Hall of Fame. Like, that makes no sense. So it did nothing to his legacy, and it's only helped him immediately because everyone's just running to his defense right now. The Hall of Fame looks political. They look personal. They look small, and it doesn't make him look any smaller at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's funny too, because you said that, you don't care. And listen, I came on here, I think it was 2 years ago. Like, when I first started the show, I was like, listen, like you, Robert Kraft should be in the Hall of Fame, but it didn't matter to me whether he got in, especially with all the stories of him sending everybody the book and trying to say, hey, look how much
documentary.
But the documentary, which I ripped through because I hated how everything, even Aaron Hernandez doing what he did, allegedly, was all Bill Belichick's fault. How they turned that
He's convicted, guilty. He did it. We can say Aaron Hernandez killed those guys.
The whole thing. Like I don't want to get into that, but I agree with you. But so that to me, in the fact that they have, like, I kind of changed my tune because the fact that they have in the time frame of the last 15 years, they've put in Jerry Jones in the Hall of Fame, who hasn't sniffed a Super Bowl in 30 years, and we've been to 11 since his last. The fact that they have Eddie DiBartolo Jr. in there during this time frame, who lost his team on an extortion scandal, and Pat Bowlen. Like, yeah, you own the Denver Broncos. You drafted John Elway. Okay, like where did you? What else did you do?
This isn't about resume. If it was about resume, we wouldn't be having these conversations. This is about timing. Agree. This is about optics. This is political. You listed it: Jerry Jones, Pat Bowlen, Eddie DiBartolo, Dan Rooney, all awful in comparison to Robert Kraft. So yeah, like you would put Robert Kraft in there. 374 wins, right? Since Kraft took over, 10 Super Bowl appearances, most by any owner, 6 Super Bowl titles. He's a leader amongst the owners. Everyone knows it. It's like the same exhausting conversation of talking about Bill Belichick, most Super Bowl wins, most wins as a head coach. You're like, okay, like,
but this is
obviously that's not the argument that they were having when they were talking about Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft. They weren't talking about how good they were, because if they were, they couldn't have come to another conclusion.
Well, and the thing that bothers me is the fact that for some, and of these guys who didn't vote for either or one or the other, whatever,
clowns.
Is the clowns. The system itself, first of all,
broken.
I would love to go through all the Hall of Fames and just start plucking guys out. Listen, a lot of the guys who, every guy that's in there, congrats to you. And that's awesome. You're immortalized. That's great. But let's be honest. Were you the best of the best? I agree with what Deion Sanders said, and that there are guys in this, in this hall who shouldn't be here with me. That the gold jacket is tainted, and
it's saturated.
Saturated. Thank you. And that's the thing. And especially too, when you have a contributor group that you're only supposed to vote for 3 out of 5, and it's between former players, head coaches, and owners.
And like senior thing, whatever that whole concept
is. Senior guys who got in last year, who, founded or co-founded the damn league in 1920. No one ever heard of them until the Hall of Fame ceremony last year. So again, it's one of these things that I hate. I hate the cloud that forms over the hall, because these guys who do get in, it's a hell of an honor. But at the same time, when you're purposefully leaving out absolute, no question, true first ballot Hall of Famers, you're just like, okay, what are we even doing? Like, why is this even a thing? No one's going to go to Canton. No one should go to Canton.
They've tried way too hard to like come up with like an algorithm or whatever this stupid equation that they have is. It's pretty simple, guys, right? You guys get in a room, write down who you think is the best, like the best that isn't in the Hall of Fame, and then have a conversation. Should we put 10 in? Are there 10 guys that deserve to get in? Is there one guy left? Are there no guys this year that are good enough to get in? Just have the effing conversation about who should get in. Like if you and I were running the hall, we'd be like, shit, all right, who's not in? Let's rank the people who aren't in, and let's decide if they're going to get in this year, if they need to wait a little bit longer, because they're like, they need to wait till year 3 because that is a better optic if they had to wait 3. Like honestly, just figure it out. Just have the conversation. Like the whole way that they select is cockamamie. That's what I'll say. And I. Honestly, the honest take is, who gives a shit about them anymore, right? Like they stink. Like it doesn't matter. Like they don't matter to me at all. Like, it's the MLB Hall of Fame all over again. I don't care if you're going to keep the steroid guys out or in. I know who was good and who wasn't. You know, I know that Bill is good, and I know Kraft is a very good owner. It's like, you guys obviously are terrible assessors of this. It's like, that means all your other assessments have to be put into question. It's like you know, someone takes the stand as a police officer, as a witness, or like, you know, when they're like a criminal like expert. There it is, criminal expert, and then they F up. They don't get to be criminal experts anymore. No one believes you. You lied. Like, what was the lady in like that case? I misremembered the truth or whatever. She can't testify anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the people who just go on and just butcher it, like, once they lose their track record's kaput. These guys are all going to vote next year. You have one guy who couldn't remember who he voted for. Take me out of the car. Like, exit the chat, right? Like, these guys don't know what's going on. Like, what are we doing here?
Exactly. Well, all right. I think we should finish off with trying to make some money for the people, huh? What do you say?
All right. Yep. I got some props for the people that they might like, with some data to support them. And so the first I took, these are things that I actually took, people, because I hate people who give betting advice and then don't take that bet. It's like, well, so you just talking out your ass, or did you like actually go, like, if it's that good of a bet, go take it, right? Right? So yes, I took it. I took all these bets. Patriots money line, Drake May 230 pass yards and 2 touchdowns. So that's the script of the Patriots. Kind of come out, they pass a lot, and, you know, not even a lot, just kind of a pedestrian amount for their own standards, but win the game passing and not running, because the Seattle run defense is dominant. So maybe they just take away the run, or maybe the Patriots do that style of run where they run with no intent to gain a ton of yards, but to more set up something. So I like it. May's cleared 230 in 14 of the 17 regular season games. He averages 258, which is 28 more yards over the average. Seattle Seahawks face the 5th most pass attempts in the NFL. So teams like to come out and pass against them. So if Patriots have watched the tape, they'll want to come out and pass against them too. In games where the Pats are tied or we're trailing at half, because I anticipate this to be a close one, May threw 44 and 37 attempts. So he comes out and he chucks the ball when he's even when he has the lead or tied at halftime. And Seattle allowed 226 deep passing yards in the NFC Championship game, which is a record in the next gen stat era. So they're prime off of one of their best, or one of their worst passing attempts as far as deep passing goes. And we all know May loves to deep pass it. So if there was a couple deep balls, the Patriots win, gets a couple tutties. I boosted it to 780. It started at plus 600. So you can make a good payout there. That's one of the higher odd ones I'll give you. A nice prop I also like, lead, and feel free to stop me if you have something to say. I'm just going to keep rattling them off.
Yeah, you're good.
So, largest lead under 14.5. Why? Because that's crazy. I don't think any team's going to get a 2-touchdown lead in this one. I just don't think it's going to be a blowout. That's at minus 130. So that's the lowest odds I'll give you, the least payout that I'll give you. Both teams are top 10 in points allowed. They thrive in 1-score games. Both of them do, really. So I expect it to be a 1-score game. And even if it got to a 2-score game, like a 10, 13 point, you still cover this. 14.5 points is more than 2 touchdowns, as you can surmise. All right, Drake May's legs, I think, are going to be critical. We talked about it earlier in the show that Seattle struggles against a running quarterback. So some of my Drake May props are going to be running. Over 13.5 longest rush. That is, I didn't write down the odds on that one. I apologize, but you can go look it up. 14 plus yards rush in the 5 of his last 7 games. Seahawks are top 6 in pressure rate. Why does pressure help you run the ball? Well, when you pressure with 4, like Seattle does, you open up gaps in the A gap, B gap, whatever it might be. If they stunt, you can find opportunities to run. So as they get pressure with 4, May takes off. He's first in scramble rate in the regular season.
How many yards do you have Drake May?
13.5 is the line. Over 13.5. I would say he's in the 20s if you really wanted to. I would take it up till 16.5 if you wanted to, if you could spread it anywhere. Seahawks allow the 2nd most QB scrambles. So
yeah, his second 16 rush yards. That's it.
13.5 longest rush.
Oh, longest rush. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I would take, like, if it was up to 16.5, I might even take it up to 16. Like, I think he could get a 20-yard rush in this game. Not total yards. One particular long rush. Yeah. Good clarification for the people. Another one I like, Stevenson. Stevenson's been, Divish said it, but I've been pounding the table on this take. He's the best running back in the NFL since coming out of the bye. Hands down, the best running back coming out of the bye, without a doubt. And May's a great running. So take Stevenson and May to combine for 100 rush yards. Get that at plus money, plus 108. Why? Stevenson, 70% of the running back rush yards this postseason. May's the team leader in EPA, rush EPA, and rush yards over expected. Patriots offense is really about running back volume and QB mobility. So when you smack those two together, I think you get 100 rush yards between the two. Trevion Henderson's taken a significant back seat lately, although I think he takes a step forward in this one. And I have a Henderson prop for you later, but I think a combined 100 yards between May and Stevenson give me like,
That's a good,
yeah, I think that's very reasonable at plus money too. And if you like those, then you might as well take Drake May MVP at plus 210 as well, right? Like if they're going to win the game and they're going to run all these yards, then you got to expect like the QB gets the MVP if they win, unless a player has 100 yards and like 10 catches or 2 touchdowns. I just looked at the track record of
multiple
MVP.
interceptions. Yeah.
You have to go nuts if you're not the quarterback. Yeah. And so I don't know if anyone's going to go nuts on the Patriots unless it's like Marcus Jones pick 6 or something crazy. But I
could, you know what, that would be a real sneaky, like it's so low odds that it won't happen probably. But I don't know. Could you imagine, like, if we get after Donald starts throwing us stuff, Marcus Jones grabs a couple, takes one back to the house.
Plus 280. 2,800 is Marcus Jones to score a touchdown. So it's got to be even better for MVP. I don't have that noted because it's not something that I took, but I did take him at plus 2,800 to score a touchdown because he punt returns, pick 6. You name it, he could score a touchdown, right? Interestingly enough, I didn't take this, but I noticed while I was there, Kyrie's Tonga has the same odds. They play him at fullback, so they're thinking maybe they. And then I was like,
hey, the refrigerator.
Maybe I should take it, not because of running. Maybe they want to throw him the ball because Vrabel caught a touchdown in the Super Bowl. So does Vrabel want to get one of his defenders a pass? That whole script and storyline could line up for you if you like that one. Not one I'm going to put my money on, though. Stevenson, 60-plus rushing yards at plus 149. Same workload logic as earlier. Same, Mondre gets 18 to 22 carries. So if you just kind of do the math, he's going to get over 60. Seattle's run defense is elite, but its postseason efficiency has dipped significantly in yards per carry and stuff rate. So they're allowing more yards per carry. They're stuffing running backs less. Ramondre Stevenson's excelling and on the upswing. So one team's trending down, one team's trending up. I like my running back at plus 149 to get over 60 yards. Feels very good. Also for him to score a touchdown. Plus 140. Steven dominates those touches down in the high leverage scenarios down on the red zone. Henderson pretty much comes off the field. Once you get down there, he's still liability and pass pro, and you don't want to, declare to the other team what you're about to do. He's logged 25 carries versus Denver. Henderson had 3. Patriots red zone, like I said, funnels through him. So when you have a red zone, and they don't really do design runs to Drake May. So if they're running it in, Stevenson's going to be the guy that gets the touchdown.
The one touchdown we scored in Denver, design run.
Yep, design run. Yep, exactly. No, Denver wasn't a designed run. That was a broken play that he ran up the middle.
That looked more like no, not the one he scored. The one he scored the touchdown.
Yeah, after the fumble.
Yeah,
I would argue that wasn't design and that he saw that opportunity. I don't think that was a QB draw.
Okay, I'll have to watch that back then.
Yeah, I will too. Now that I just took a note down and I want to go rewatch it. But just off of my memory, I was like, oh, nice awareness to realize that there was a lane there and go up the middle.
Totally different things on that
let's see here. Mac Hollins over 26.5 receiving yards. He led the wide receiver snaps in the AFC conference game. Pre-injury, he averaged 7 targets a game. So to get over 26 on 7 targets seems pretty good. Seahawks play heavy zone. Hollins works those in breakers versus the zone. Get him like 2 catches, maybe even 1 catch. He could clear this.
He could probably clear. Yeah, that flea flicker. Do that again.
Yep, 60+ yards if you like them up to that at plus 451. Same exact reasons. Seahawks recently allowed 374 and 457 passing yards. Somebody has to get the reception yards. That's a lot of pass. 374 and 457. 226 deep passing yards in the NFC Championship game. So it's the cheapest way to capture a Patriots explosive, in my opinion, is to go after a Mac Hollins prop. Trevion Henderson over 18.5. Reason being split safety.
18.5 yards.
Yeah. Total, not a rush. That's total.
Okay.
Seahawks play split safeties 78.3% of time, and Henderson kills split safeties at 4.7 yards per carry, 55.9 success rate, best in the NFL. So he just needs 4 or 5 carries. And interestingly enough, I'm going to do a humble brag. I posted this very long tweet about Henderson versus split safety looks, and apparently Bill Simmons picked it up and then took this prop because he saw that tweet. So if I can influence Bill Simmons, you should be influenced too, because I think he would have a radar up for a good bet or not. But he also gave out an AJ Barner anytime touchdown bet, so I rode him. But the reason that I'm riding him is he's second on the Seahawks in end zone targets, something that Bill didn't bring up. So Bill, if you're listening, that would have been a good reason to cite there. He converted 90% of short down yardage rushes. Patriots allow 81% of TDs via the pass with Milton Williams on the field. So Milton Williams comes out there. Maybe it's a pass to Barner, multiple paths to a touchdown is basically the point here. And that's at plus 240. And that sort of concludes the props that I have here. But I have a lot more, and I'll be releasing a gambling article that brings you every single bet I took, why, and a full breakdown of data that supports it, just like I brought here. I'll be releasing that either Friday or Saturday morning. So if you're looking for some bets to put in, if you're looking to make some money, go ahead and read that. Is there breaking news? I heard a wow.
No, well, sorry, no breaking news.
Okay, you got me excited. I thought something good was happening.
Well, I think this, like, in terms of prop bets, again, we talked about how weak the interior of Seattle's offensive line is.
Yeah.
For Milton Williams to get 1 sack on DraftKings here, 1 sack for Milton Williams plus 212, 1 sack for Christian Barmore plus 370. And if you take Milton Williams to get 2 sacks in this game, plus 1260. That would be
2 sacks, kind of nuts, though, right?
I mean, it is nuts, but at the same time,
260 is a good payout for that.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact too that, again, this offensive line is, not as strong. It's actually, according to PFF, after week 18, worse than us. Not by much, but it's still, as a whole, not great. And obviously their weak points are right in the middle.
Yeah, so I mean, you mentioned it earlier, Bradford, right? That guy's a saloon door. He allowed a season high 8 pressures, which is twice as many as anybody else on that line. So if you're going to target someone, you're going to target that right guard position.
And Milton Barmore and Milton Williams are also the fastest to get home too.
Yeah, they have generated 3. Milton Williams at least generated 3 quick pressures. So that's getting there in under 2.5 seconds last week, or not last week at this point, a week and a half ago. But, when you talk about pressure rate, the Patriots and also pressure rate specifically against play action, which is what Seattle likes to use a lot. If you're going to use a lot of play action, you're going to want to know how your defense stacks up against that. Well, the Patriots ranked number 1 in pressure versus play action at 44% of the time. So, yeah, if they're going to be running a lot of play action, we're going to be just forget about the running back. We're just going to be going after the quarterback, right? Because it could, they're not falling for it, essentially, is what that stat tells me. We don't fall for the play action. We just continue to lock on to the quarterback and we get him after number 1. We're 7th in time to pressure. So we get after the quarterback 100%. I think that's a great bet. I would probably take it at the 1, maybe both of them singles.
The 1, yeah.
Yeah.
If you have a couple bucks, like if you have 5, 10, 20 bucks,
dusting.
Throw on the 2 sack. Be my guest. Like that
deserves a dusting for sure. Yeah. Maybe a parlay of a Barmore 1 sack and a what is it if you have it up? If you parlay the 2, does it let you even parlay them? Because I mean that wouldn't be a bad one. Chason recorded 1 sack in 3 of his last 4 games, 8 total games with the sack.
Chason is plus 221 for 1 sack.
That might not be a terrible one, right?
Yeah.
Abraham Lucas has allowed 4 sacks in one-on-one protection, and they leave him in one-on-one protection more than they leave any other tackle. Nearly 78% of the time he's one-on-one. So if you one-on-ones with Chason and Chason has a day, there's your sack, right? So Charles Cross 5 sacks, most of any Seahawks offensive lineman. So honestly, any edge that you go against has a susceptibility to them.
Exactly. So I don't know, something to think about. But
something to think about. Chew on that.
Chew on that. Well, Pete, man, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, and thank you to the Viz for coming on the show. Pete, do you want to this way? opposite. Do you want to? Yeah, right. Do you want to reiterate what Davish said? How people can find you and your show there, the Foxborough Fellas podcast?
Yeah, I can see if I can get the point down. There it is. There's my @ right there. If you're watching, if you're listening, at Pete_Collins_. I write articles so far. I got 3 parts out. It's of a 5-part series. Part 1, Seattle's passing versus our defense. So I broke down what Seattle's good at, what we're good at, some of the matchups that you can expect there. Part 2 was their rush attack versus our rush defense. You can follow along here. Part 3, Patriots pass versus their D. So I broke down the whole cover 6 thing. So if you want to hear more about the cover 6 or the zone coverages, or if you just want to go find some data so you're a well-informed viewer and you're sitting there at your Super Bowl party, go, did you know that? And then say that random stat that you read in my article. Part 4 coming out tomorrow, the Patriots running game versus Seattle's rush defense. And part 5 is just going to be all gambling. Straight, just nonsense what color Gatorade, all that, but also like what I gave you here, largest lead under 14.5, I think is a wild one. Like do you want some free money? I don't think there's going to be a 15-point lead at any point in this game or more. So if you like any of that content, go read my articles. If you're a listener and not as much of a reader, Davish said it, every Monday and Friday during the season, we do a Monday episode that reviews the game, a Friday episode that previews the game. We preview it by each bringing a key. Our keys are always data-backed, analytical, like you might have noticed Davish and I speak. It's always, here's what we think, but here's exactly why you should agree with what we think, because here's some data points that support it fully. So that's what we do. We're all data. We're analytical. We watch the tape 2 or 3 times each. We love tape and film, X's and O's. That's exactly what you get from us. But yeah, go follow us over there. Fox Fellas Pod, Boston Sports Zone, yada, yada, yada. Like, subscribe, follow, all that shit that people say when they have a podcast.
Wow. Awesome. Well, Pete, once again, it's been a pleasure. And for the Boston Sports Summit, I am your host, Tim Barnard. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow the show on X at BOS Sports Summit, Boss Sports Summit. Also on Instagram, Boston Sports Summit, and YouTube, Boston Sports Summit. Thank you so much, Pete. And hey, we all we got.
We all we need.
Let's go, Pats, baby. Come on.
Yes.
It's big game on Sunday. Let's go. All right. Have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy the game. Go, Pats.
Peace.